The hijack. How feeds manufacture unreality. Here's the quiet truth. Your feed isn't a timeline. It's a mirror that remembers. Every hesitation, hover, rewind, and save is a label. The system doesn't care why you stayed. It cares that you stayed. So your attention becomes training data, your tomorrow becomes prediction, and your next click becomes the target the system is paid to hit. That's the closed loop. You train it. It trains you back. Pause on a frame with moral heat, and that pattern earns a boost. The model doesn't know if it's accurate. It knows your nervous system reacted. Multiply that across millions of micro-reactions, and it can forecast what version of you is most hookable, and at what hour. Under the hood, 3 engines run the factory floor. First is the Fluency engine. Repetition builds ease. Ease gets misread as truth. The system doesn't repeat posts, it repeats patterns. Familiar headlines, mirrored phrasing, adjacent accounts quoting each other. You experience echoes as consensus. This is the illusory truth effect. Circular reporting multiplies exposure without adding evidence, and the brain quietly says, I keep seeing this, it must be solid. Over time, smooth cadence becomes your truth cue. Accurate or not, the fluent frame slides in with less friction than the careful one. That's how complex, slow reality starts to feel less convincing than crisp, fast claims. Second is the arousal engine. Anger, awe, and tribal pride compress decision time and extend watch time. The body moves before the analysis arrives. Platforms learn your arousal signature by proxy. Rapid replays, sudden comment bursts, rewinds on a single sentence. They don't need your pulse. Your behavior is enough. If a certain moral note kept you longer, more of that note returns, maybe with a new target. You think you're tracking issues. In practice, you're tracking your own physiological hooks, classic high arousal effects that narrow attention and lock memory. Third is the identity engine. In-group signals, slogans, emojis, color palettes, insider jokes, drop your guard. A claim wearing your tribe's clothes gets a courtesy pass. The same claim in an opponent's packaging gets shredded. Once belonging is fused to a frame, updating facts feels like betrayal. The cost of accuracy starts to look like the cost of exile, and the loop tightens around loyalty tests instead of curiosity. Put them together, and you get belief funnels. Nobody yanks you to extremes. You get warped there. A neutral curiosity nudges to a punchier spin, then to a scandal compilation, then to an exposed channel whose back catalogue leans harder. Each step looks reasonable. The path as a whole is engineered, because collaborative filtering pairs you with pattern neighbors, people who pause like you under similar heat. Your clicks train them. There's train you. Within days, the factory floor hums a chorus that feels like everyone, when it's really your cluster singing back. The catch is that nuance underperforms these engines. It's metabolically expensive. It asks you to sit with ambiguity, read methods, tolerate boredom. Outrage pays faster. Smoothness spreads farther. Identity locks tighter. So careful sources get buried under stickier patterns. It's not malice by design. It's incentive. Meanwhile, the loop learns your bedtime. Tired you teaches a different model than rested you. If most of your training happens in late-night scrolls, the system overfits to that version. High arousal, low patience, and underserves content that needs breath. That's why your feed looks saner at 9 a.m. than it does at 1 a.m. Different views are being optimized. So how does unreality get manufactured? Not by a single lie, but by a cadence that turns nudges into norms. Precision shows up at the window when your guard is down. Repetition makes the frame feel native. Emotion locks memory. Identity protects the badge. After a week of that music, ordinary life can feel offbeat. Real rooms seem less convincing than rehearsed clips. Your sense of presence starts taking cues from fluency and arousal instead of touch and time. You're not helpless inside this machine, but you are trainable. The counter isn't a full-time fact-checker living in your head. It's small frictions at the right moments. Source first, not share first. Emotion check before fact check. A 10-minute delay on pulse spikes. A quick 1-degree counter-search on claims that glide in too easily. And a deliberate diet shift. 3 depth sources you trust and 1 rigorous dissent that you respect. Because here's the decision point. If you continue letting the loop learn the most hookable version of you, it will gladly play teacher. If you start feeding it different success markers, long form, primary documents, cooler cadence, it will adjust. The factory always tunes to what keeps you. You can choose what keep means. Vulnerabilities 101. The 3 locks: ease, arousal, identity. To break the factory spell, you need to see the locks it uses. 3 of them account for most of the drift: cognitive ease, arousal hijack, and identity lock. They aren't defects. They're shortcuts the brain uses to save energy and stay connected. The system just learned how to press them in sequence. Start with cognitive ease. When something glides, clean font, familiar phrasing, mirrored headlines, your brain relaxes the guard and grants a courtesy pass. That relaxed feeling gets misread as reliable. Repetition is the amplifier. Echoes across multiple accounts don't add proof. They add fluency. The claim becomes easy to process, so it feels more true than a careful post that forces you to slow down. That's why a polished thread can beat a primary document you have to click. The fluency, this makes sense sensation, is cheap to manufacture, and it sneaks under skepticism when you're tired. You can spot ease in the wild. Cadence feels practiced. Phrases repeat with tiny edits. Experts say, leaked proves we all know. Charts arrive with perfect color palettes but no methods. Clips circulate with the same crop and caption. Your mind thinks, I've seen this everywhere. You've seen it often, not everywhere. The counter is small friction. Source first, not share first. 2 clicks to an original document or full video cut fluency's spell in half. Change reading mode or device when a post glides too fast. Mobile to desktop, dark mode to reader view. That minor cost lifts the guard just enough to see what's missing. 1-degree search helps too. Add criticism, methods, or retraction to the claim. If nothing credible appears, downgrade confidence and save to verify. Next is arousal hijack. Body moves before analysis. Anger or threat, and tribal pride narrow attention, speed action, and glue memory. Platforms don't need your heart rate to learn this. Rapid replays, comment bursts, rewind on one sentence. Those are physiological tells by proxy. The loop calibrates the dose. Too little heat and you scroll. Too much and you feel handled. The sweet spot is productive anger, a surge that feels righteous and shareable. You'll hear the arousal grammar: betrayal, rigged, traitor, purged, sacred, heroic. Short clauses, rising beats, red circles around screenshots, countdown clocks. Before they delete this, you feel pulled to react before you can restate the claim in your own words. That's your signal, you're inside a body-first state. The counter is a state check before a fact check. Name the spike out loud: anger, fear, pride. That label shifts you from actor to observer for a beat. Set a timer, 10 minutes. Truth won't expire. During the pause, restate the claim neutrally, without the packaging. If you can't, you're reacting to tone, not content. Pair the hot thread with one long-form source on the same topic to cool the body and widen attention. The third lock is identity. Belonging beats accuracy when they clash. In-group signals, slogans, colors, emojis, anthem snippets. Lower your guard, so the same sentence in different packaging gets opposite treatment. Once a claim becomes a badge, updating it feels like a threat to membership. Reason turns into a bodyguard for the team. Identity shows up in purity tests and packaging swaps. If acceptance depends on sharing and defending the line, curiosity shrinks. If your favorite voices repeat a frame without methods and punish hesitation with loyalty language, the lock is set. You loosen it by anchoring to values, not labels. Because I care about fairness, I want the cleanest evidence. That framing keeps tribe while inviting updates. Seeking group validators who model correction. When they show receipts and revise fast, the social penalty for changing your mind drops. Ask coalition questions. What evidence would make us change our view? If the answer is nothing, name that as identity defense, not truth-seeking. Put the 3 together, and you get a test you can run in under a minute. Ease, does this glide? Add friction. Arousal, what am I feeling? Name it, delay it. Identity, whose badge is this wearing? Anchor to values and ask for receipts. You won't catch every move, but you'll break the cadence that turns nudges into norms. One more thing, locks don't just guard the door, they keep errors inside. Repetition cements, arousal seals, identity protects. Your job isn't to become a monk. It's to install tiny hinges you can swing open when the room gets too tight. Once you can do that, you'll feel the floor under you again. And that's the difference between being carried by the feed and walking through it. Depersonalization versus derealization. Spot the difference fast. Quick cut to the core. When unreality hits, ask one question. Am I doubting me or the world? If it's me, you're looking at depersonalization. It shows up as detachment from your own experience. You hear your voice, and it sounds borrowed. Your hands type fine, but ownership lags a half step. Thoughts arrive, but they feel narrated rather than lived. People call it autopilot, observing from the back row, floating above your body, or moving through tasks without the usual sense of, I'm the one doing this. The inner channel is intact for logic, but the feeling of agency, my voice, my choices, goes slippery. Memory gets weird in a specific way. Events register, yet the recollection doesn't feel anchored as yours. Like a file saved in the right folder with the author tag missing. If it's the world, think derealization. The environment looks normal, but reads staged. Edges are crisp while depth is flat. Light lands correctly, yet rooms feel set-like, as if the designer got the proportions right and forgot the warmth. You can name objects, desk, cup, clock, but connection doesn't click. People describe glass wall, movie set, dream fog, cardboard cutouts. Here, memory skews differently. You remember the place, but the scene replays with a haze filter, as though the world was only ever half downloaded. They often travel together. You might feel your voice isn't yours while the street looks too clean. Still, splitting them helps you act fast. Ask, am I questioning me or the world? That cut tells you which anchor to use first. Match the anchors to the target. For depersonalization, go body forward. You're re-establishing ownership. Press both feet into the floor and shift weight left to right. Run cold water on your wrists. Count 10 slow exhales, longer out than in. Move deliberately, clench and release fists, roll shoulders, stand and sit. Speak a simple sentence out loud, and time it with your breath. You're feeding interoceptive channels the clamp muted. The signal is I'm here, in this body, doing this now. For derealization, go environment forward. You're restoring depth and context. Name 5 things you see, for you hear, 3 you can touch, 2 you can smell, 1 you can taste. Read a street sign, and the next one. State the date, time window, and where sunlight is in the sky. Trace the edges of objects with your eyes. Touch a wall, a tabletop, your jacket, and note temperature and texture. The signal is this place has detail and continuity. I'm oriented inside it. There are quick tells when you're unsure. Depersonalization leans toward agency glitches. I'm watching myself. My words feel pre-recorded. My emotions feel muted from the inside. Derealization leans toward spatial and authenticity shifts. The room looks flat. Faces look unfamiliar while familiar. Outside air feels like stage air. Panic content splits too. With depersonalization, fear points inward. Am I disappearing, going insane, losing identity? With derealization, fear points outward. Is reality broken? Will the world ever feel real again? Neither fear is a verdict. Both are side effects of the same protective clamp you heard about earlier, just aimed at different maps. Self versus environment. When you label which map is blurry, you stop negotiating with a vague unease and start working a specific lever. One more microcheck you can run in 10 seconds. Close your eyes. If the oddness jumps, the self feels further away. Depersonalization likely dominates. Open your eyes and do body anchors. If the oddness eases with eyes closed but spikes when you look around, derealization's in front. Keep eyes open and run orientation. If both hold, weave the stacks. 2 body anchors, 2 environment anchors, then a paced breath set. Here's the payoff to keep in your pocket. You're not repairing reality. You're restoring contact with it. Facts remain intact across both states. The task is to bring sensation and meaning back into the same frame. Name the mode, match the anchor, give it 90 seconds. Then get on with your day, because momentum itself is grounding. The hidden triggers you overlook. You're expecting a single villain. What actually moves the needle are small, boring things stacking until the clamp pulls. Start with sleep. Even one short night trims the brain's buffer for emotion and attention. After 2, interoception blurs, judgment speeds up, and the movie without a soundtrack effect gets easier to trigger. If late scrolling is your wind down, you just taught a tired nervous system to chase arousal while cutting recovery. That's the quiet 2-step, less sleep, more heat. The episode the next morning feels random. It wasn't. Sensory load hides in plain sight too. Back-to-back meetings on video. A commute with honking, fluorescent light, and constant alerts. A crowded gym with TV walls and pounding playlists. Nothing seems dramatic, but your system is absorbing micro-jolts without time to metabolize them. When the street finally goes quiet, the contrast makes the room feel hollow. The brain mistakes unfamiliar silence for absence of reality rather than presence of rest. Stress stacking is sneaky. It's not the fight. It's the fight plus the deadline, plus the invoice you forgot, plus the news clip you shouldn't have watched at 11:48 p.m. People look for a single cause of unreality because that feels solvable. The pattern is dose over time. Your threshold isn't fixed. It moves with the week. Mapping load explains why Tuesday night slides you over and Friday doesn't. Then there's monotony with vigilance, the highway trance of modern life. Long edits, spreadsheet marathons, grinding a level, monitoring dashboards. You're alert, but novelty is low. The brain conserves energy by downshifting the feeling channel. That's adaptive in the moment, and awkward when you stand up and expect full presence on demand. If you pair these sessions with music that erases room tone and a chair that anesthetizes your legs, orientation takes longer to snap back. Substances matter, not as morality tales, but as threshold movers. Cannabis, in particular, changes time perception and increases internal focus. For some, that's calming. For those already flirting with detachment, it tips the scale. Combine it with sleep debt and a high arousal feed, and the next morning's voice feels foreign moment makes sense. Alcohol muddies sleep architecture, so even 8 hours on paper can be 5 in practice. Caffeine stacks early calm with late-night jitter, training your day to peak where you least need it. Timing traps the loop learns fast. Late-night sessions show the model your most hookable window. It will bring the heat back to that hour. You think you're self-soothing. You're letting the factory tune itself on your tiredness. The result is a personalized cadence that underdelivers nuance when you're most depleted. That's why a noon scroll feels like reading, and a 1 a.m. scroll feels like reality rehearsal. Sensitivity thresholds differ by person and by season. After grief, illness, big launches, or travel, your buffer is thinner. The trigger didn't change, you did. Treating this like a character flaw misses the mechanics. Capacity varies. Calibration prevents shame from becoming a secondary load. So how do you stop treating these like mysteries? Log patterns, briefly and boringly. A 2-column ledger on your phone works. Inputs and state. Inputs, sleep hours, late scroll yes/no, substances, VR/gaming time, meeting density, conflict moments. State, presence 1 to 5, body signals tight/steady, DP or DR dominant if present, duration. 3 weeks of this shrinks fear because it restores predictability. You'll see your stack by day of week, by hour, and by combo. You'll also see what interrupts it. Common tells reveal themselves. A 30-minute late scroll plus 6 hours sleep predicts morning flatness. 2 nights of solid sleep reduce both frequency and intensity by half. Walking outside before screens adds grip to the day. Eating something with protein after a highway drive task shortens the lag back into presence. Calling these hacks is cute. Calling them safety evidence is accurate. One last overlooked trigger. Talking about symptoms all day. Constant self-checking keeps attention glued to the instrument panel. That's more arousal and less living, which keeps the clamp interested. Name the state, run an anchor, and move into action. Episodes shrink faster when you stop interviewing them. You're not fragile. You're trainable. Change the stack, and the clamp releases. The next section explains why the brain picks disconnect instead of panic, and how you can show it a better option. Why the brain chooses disconnect over fight/flight. When load rises, your nervous system has 2 broad plays. Turn the volume up or turn it down. Fight/flight is the volume up move. Mobilize, narrow vision, flood muscles. Disconnect is the volume down move. Mute emotion, increase top-down control, keep functioning. Under certain conditions, the quiet option wins. Start with purpose. Panic is useful when there's something to hit, lift, or flee. But when the threat is amorphous, information overload, social conflict, stacked microstressors, full arousal can make performance worse. So the brain picks a conservation strategy. Imaging across dissociative states shows the pattern. Prefrontal systems ramp to manage and inhibit limbic reactivity, while emotional resonance drops. Translation: you keep thinking, you stop feeling. The cost is texture. The benefit is fewer runaway spirals. This isn't exotic. It echoes freeze in animals and playing dead, responses that reduce damage when escape isn't viable. It's also akin to medical anesthesia principles. Suppress sensation to permit the procedure. Dissociation borrows that logic for psychology. It sacrifices richness to keep the system upright. You still answer emails, drive, speak. You just don't feel fully inside it. Why does it linger? Because the very circuits dampening emotion also supervise release. If the prefrontal clamp interprets your distress about detachment as new threat, it stays on. That's the persistence loop.